So today we're going to talk about stem cells. If there's one area that we've got to be super duper careful about talking about, it's stem cells. The government's very, 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 very restrictive on what we're legally allowed to say about stem cells. So we'll start off with just kind of a general overview. The number one question that people ask is, will stem cells fix me? No. Stem cells, and this is a big thing that the government's picky on that I agree with. Stem cells don't fix you. Drugs don't fix you. Supplements don't fix you. They give their body information and abilities and tools for your body to then go back and fix you. So I don't know why they're making the extreme point on stem cells, that stem cells don't fix you, but the way your body uses them, your body heals you with stem cells. That's fine. That's very, very specific and it's accurate. So I don't have a problem with it. But that's one of the biggest things. There's a variety of different things that are being passed off as stem cells because they all kind of are. So if you have a Kia and a Honda Civic and a Ferrari, Italia, and you're like, those are all cars. Yes, they are. They are all cars. They are not the same. They don't work the same. They're not priced the same. They have different functions and features. So yes, but they all are cars. So when people talk about PRP or protein-rich plasma being stem cells, it's in the umbrella. When people talk about Wharton's jelly being stem cells, again, in the vein, in the umbrella. When we talk about umbilical stem cells, obviously those are, there as well. The research on stem cells is showing really cool stuff. Again, it's illegal for me to say, if you have this, stem cells will help you. So fall back on the idea that if you have a big problem, you might need bigger solutions. Now, when we do them, I have a team we work with because they're really good at it. And it's cool because the team's all over the US, so we can send people wherever they want to go, no matter where you live. But we do them as part of a process, like we do everything else. So, if you're going to say, hey, we want to use this tool to radically increase healing, then we want to put all of the pieces together that your body needs to heal with, right? Again, if you're going to bake the cake, get all the ingredients out. So one of the things we'll have to look at is, obviously testosterone, and are your detox portals open, kidneys and liver? Can we get the waste out? Can we get the good products in? There's a variety of different ways that you can take these. So when you do IV, that goes in the blood, that's the best place for these things. They need oxygen, they need blood, they need all the cofactors of your body because your body is actually doing the healing, remember. It's not the stem cells doing things to you, it's your body using the stem cells as a tool to regenerate and heal, to increase communication, to get products that they hadn't had in a long time that they can use to manipulate and change. For instance, the standard talk line is that exosomes, once they're in the body, can alter and change and help the body create any type of tissue, nerve tissue, blood vessel tissue, brain tissue, heart tissue, whatever it is. And more or less to extent, that's what we see. The problem we get into and the issues that have been raised about just doing straight IV is that whenever you hit a large resistance function, the blood's going to be, kind of pulled out, and the stem cells will be pulled out as well. So there's a large contingency of stem cell guys I work with that believe that IV stem cells will do awesome things until they get to the lungs and they kind of stick in the lungs because the lungs kind of pull out all that stuff, which, I'm not going to necessarily make an argument for or against that. But if there's one place that I really want to make sure that my body has all the tools it needs to heal stuff, are my heart, my lungs, and my brain. So, I'm not, let's say that is true. Let's say that, hey, 60% or 40% of all your stem cells you put in IV are going to get caught in the lungs. Okay. That's not necessarily a downside. If you're like, well, you're trying to get your knee to fix. Yeah, but we're trying to get the whole body to get fixed. That's really the goal. Because if you, let's say you had a knee injury, we gave you stem cells, and it fixed your lungs, and it fixed your liver, and it helped your, clean up your blood a little bit, and that decreased the inflammation, allowed your body to heal the knee. Fine, right? Like we're going to argue over, exactly what happened, then I think it's academic and it's fantastic. So we can figure out like, oh, well, maybe, we should look at the long-term chronic inflammation from knee injuries that's doing damage to the entire body instead of just focusing on just the knee, more of a holistic view. I know, crazy, isn't it? But that's kind of how we'd want to look at that is exactly what's going on. Now, if you have damage to cartilage, if you have MS, if you have Parkinson's, if you have some of these things, and people are telling you that, stem cells will fix you, that's technically illegal to tell you that. Is it a tool you should look into? 100%. When I sit down, I give everybody all their options. Stem cells are usually on the list of things that we can do. But I don't want people to think that, oh, you're quadriplegic and, we'll just give you a shot of stem cells for, $10,000 and 6 weeks later, your body will be fine. There's a lot of things that you need to understand. It's a multiple step approach. It's like a lot of these things, especially the bigger ones, the interthecal. So they actually like inject them into your spinal canal for some of this stuff. And again, as part of a larger process to help the body heal, we've seen them do really cool things. The research on them is very, very promising. It's really, really good. They're still, legally we're supposed to tell you that they're in an experimental stage. I would tell you that regardless of what the law says, we have to say, because we haven't gotten these things to the point where we can predictively, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and it's going to do this every single time. So, they're still in the experimental phase. This is bleeding edge, legitimately cutting edge, bleeding edge, however you want to say it, research, technology, development stuff that we're doing. Safety wise, we've seen, I haven't read anything where somebody got stem cells and the stem cells created a problem. Obviously you've got, if you're going to do interthecal injections, injections into the spinal canal, there's a tremendous amount of risk just with that. So you got to kind of factor that in. But a lot of times you guys can use these things to aid in, it's really hard for me not to say certain things, to aid in, again, the body regenerating the tissue. What we've seen as far as success-wise goes, anything that has, the more blood flow something has, obviously the better it's going to be, because it's going to have more oxygen, it's going to have more nutrients, it's going to have all sorts of things. So there's, like, for instance, in the knee, there's the red zone and the white zone. The red zone has blood flow to it, the white zone does not. And so getting the blood flow areas to heal has always, regardless of stem cells, has always been easier and faster. So keep that in mind as far as how long it's going to take to fix. The other thing you have to factor in is if you're going to do something, and let's say you're working on a degenerative issue, Parkinson's or MS or something like that, your body can only heal at the rate your body can heal. So if you give it a whole bunch and it can only heal this much, you're going to have to do it multiple times. And so sometimes you'll get this much out of the first treatment and then that much out of the next one, and then you get a little bit more and a little bit more, because as the body has the resources and the abilities it needs to communicate with itself and heal, you're going to see that just start speeding up. So, if you look at it like, well, it's $7,000 for a treatment or $10,000 for a treatment, and I think we can do that. You need to make sure that you talk to these guys and go, how many treatments would you suspect would be best for me? Because you can't ask how many will it take. You can say how much would be best for me. And so those would be some of the ways that you can kind of work through it. There's been, we talk about these things a lot. Like I say people have been talking about these a lot. Rogan's done a lot of stuff on this. There's Dr. Royden's clinic that's in Panama has done, really, really great research. They've got Royden's up here in Texas now. They've got, I met him and spoke with him at a charity conference the other day. So we've got abilities up here. And then I've got teams that can do this kind of all over the US. It's one of those things that we need to start figuring out how to increase communication in the body. And stem cells are a great way to enhance that. So if you're wondering if you're wondering if they can help you, let me put it this way. If you're wondering, hey, I have this issue here, can stem cells help me? The answer is there's a pretty solid chance they can help you, but I'm not going to tell you that they can fix the problem you're going after, right? So, let's say that you have brain fog and fatigue and, your sleep's messed up and you're just kind of this general, like, meh, and you have damage to your knee. If you go in and you do stem cells for your knee, will it fix the knee? Maybe it'll help. Will it help with the cognition and the rest of the body function? The research is really promising on that. So, that's kind of where we're at. Would I recommend them for someone who, like a high-end athlete who's having surgery on a torn ACL or a torn Achilles, or, they've got a car wreck and broke their femur and, they need to heal faster? Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's risk, because what we're looking at is not if you take these, you might have these horrible, issues with your body. It's more of you spent 10 grand on it and didn't do anything, right? But the risk reward, I think, for a high-end athlete that might make, $80,000 to $300,000 per game. Yeah, it's definitely worth the risk reward ratio, in my opinion. Should everybody be doing these? Nah, not right now. Let's get a little bit more research on them. Let's get a little bit more ability to actually have a real conversation with our patients and say, look, I don't think this is right for you for these reasons, or I do think it's right for you for these reasons. Like, for instance, like right now, the way we're supposed to do it, if someone comes in and they say, doc, I have avascular necrosis of the femoral head, you go, well, that's really a specific thing. You go, will stem cells help me? The best we can do is go, well, that's funny, because here's a bunch of research on stem cells, doing things for avascular necrosis of the femoral head. However, I can't and won't tell you it will or won't help you. And so I can give you the research and I can say, you can read this. And if you have questions about the research, I can answer questions about the research, but I can't tell you it will or won't help you. So it's not illegal to use stem cells. It's illegal to tell people they will get any benefit from them. So I'm hoping that with more research and more, see how this has worked, we can kind of go through it and kind of get more information to people. Now, I will tell you this, I can't say anything, but if you've had stem cells and they helped you and you're not medical, you can say whatever you want about it, because that's a testimonial. That's that I had this problem, I did this thing, this is where I'm at now. Those are fantastic. So if you guys have used stem cells in any amount, PRP, injections, nasal stuff, the IVs, any type of thing that you guys have seen stem cells personally work in you, drop them in the comments. Anytime where any of these type of things, talk about what they've done for you. Talk about what they've done for your family, because that's going to be a really big piece. Because they can't come back and say your story isn't something that you can tell, because it's your story. It's something that's happened. It's, you're not making medical claims for somebody else. You're telling a story of what's happened to you. Those stories are by far the most important thing we can get for any further research, any further utilization, any further helping other people. That's going to be the number one thing we can do. I can't tell the stories of patients that I've had on them that they've done, because then it's looked at as marketing and it's looked at as, I guess, propaganda. But you guys can talk about anything you guys have personally seen with the use of stem cells. So drop them in the comments. And the nice thing is, if you guys say, hey, I had this issue, I did these things, this is what happened to me, I can say, Ted dropped a comment in the section that said he had this issue, he did this, and it did get better. So according to Ted, it was very beneficial. That's a great testimonial. So that's going to help all of us who are trying to help other people with getting this information out. So if you guys have had it, and if it's your kids, if it's your dad, if it's your brother, great. If it's, hey, I knew this guy one time, don't do that one. But this happened to me, this happened to a direct family member. If you guys have those, please drop them in the comments. Send them to me an email. I would love to have them, because, again, the more stories, the better, because a lot of times those stories will end up directing us in research too. So send those in, drop them in the comments. I realize how unbelievably vague and kind of, spotty this was, but this is kind of legally how we get to talk about it. So it is a thing. It is legal. The research is really, really good on it. And I think that's legally all I can say about it. So will it help you? Maybe. So anyway, if you guys have questions, ask them. Maybe we can get some more reach out to you. If you guys are looking for this type of stuff, hit us up. Like I said, we've got guys all over who do this. This is what they've trained in. This is what they've been researching. This is what the life they've been living for a long time. So these guys are really good at doing the stem cell stuff. So hit us up. I'll be able to direct you guys all around the country. If not, if you guys have any other questions, like I said, questions@chalmerswellness.com or drop them in the comments and we'll get to them. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.